The relentless rain hammered down upon my oilskin as I cast my line into the murky depths of the lake. The sky was a canvas of storm, the wind a howling banshee. I was alone, as I often was, drawn to the solitude of the lake by an inexplicable longing. As the line disappeared into the water, I felt a surge of excitement mingled with trepidation. This lake held a reputation for being both bountiful and cursed. Locals whispered tales of monstrous creatures lurking beneath its surface, creatures that could drag a man to a watery grave with a single swipe of their razor-sharp claws. Time slipped away as I waited patiently for a bite. The rain eased, and the wind subsided, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. The lake grew still, its glassy surface reflecting the darkening sky like a polished obsidian mirror. Suddenly, my rod jerked violently. I gripped it tightly, my heart pounding in my chest. The line was taut, pulling against the weight of something massive. I fought against the unseen force, my muscles straining. As I slowly reeled in my catch, a sense of dread washed over me. The creature on the other end of the line was not a fish. It was something far more sinister. Its teeth gnashed against the hook as it emerged from the depths. Its eyes were fiery orbs of malice, and its skin was the sickly green of decay. Its long, slender claws twitched incessantly, as if eager to taste human flesh. I screamed in horror and dropped the rod. The creature lunged forward, its claws swiping at my face. I dodged its attack by a hair's breadth, stumbling backward. Terror propelled me away from the lake. I ran and ran until my lungs burned and my legs gave way. As I collapsed on the ground, I could hear the creature pursuing me, its guttural growls echoing through the darkness. I struggled to my feet and stumbled into the shelter of a nearby cave. As I peered out into the storm, I saw the creature standing at the entrance. Its eyes glowed with an evil intelligence, and its claws scraped against the rock, sending shards of stone flying. I knew I was trapped. The creature was patient, waiting for me to make a mistake. I had to outsmart it, but how? My eyes fell upon a pile of rocks at the back of the cave. Desperation surged through me as I grabbed a handful and hurled them at the creature. To my astonishment, the rocks had no effect. The creature merely shrugged them off with a contemptuous flick of its tail. As I watched in despair, the creature inched closer. Its claws extended, ready to tear me limb from limb. But then, something unexpected happened. The creature's eyes darted to a small, shiny object on the ground. It was my wedding ring. For a moment, the creature seemed transfixed by the ring. Its claws retracted, and its eyes softened. A faint glimmer of something akin to confusion flickered across its monstrous face. Slowly, the creature turned and retreated into the darkness, leaving me trembling and alone. As the storm raged outside, I pondered the strange encounter. Why had the creature been so fascinated by my wedding ring? What connection did it have to the horrors that lurked beneath the lake? I never returned to that cursed place, but I kept the ring, a haunting reminder of the night I faced the unspeakable and escaped by the grace of something unknown. Years later, I learned that my grandmother had been a mermaid, a creature of the sea with a forbidden love for a human. She had given up her life in the water to be with my grandfather, and in doing so, she had passed on a curse to her descendants. The creature in the lake was one of the guardians of that curse, a monstrous reminder of the price we had paid for my grandmother's love. And so, I live with the knowledge that the curse is not broken, that something sinister still stirs beneath the surface of the lake, waiting for me to return. But I will not go back. I will not tempt fate again, for I know that the lake holds a secret too terrible to bear. In the eerie twilight, I cast my line into the fathomless depths of the lake. As the bobber danced upon the glassy surface, I felt a strange unease creeping up my spine. The air was thick with an oppressive silence, broken only by the faint lapping of waves against the shore. As the minutes turned into hours, a sinister stillness settled over the water. The bobber remained motionless, mocking my hopes of a catch. I began to feel a growing sense of dread, as if something malevolent lurked beneath the placid surface. Suddenly, my line jerked violently. I nearly dropped the rod in surprise as I struggled to reel in whatever had taken the bait. With each crank, the resistance grew heavier, and the bobber disappeared below the water. A cold shiver ran down my spine. Slowly, I hauled in my line, my heart pounding in my chest. As the creature emerged from the depths, I gasped in horror. It was a grotesque fish, its scales a sickly shade of green and its eyes glowing an eerie crimson. Its razor-sharp teeth were bared in a menacing grin. Fear consumed me as the fish lunged towards my boat. I instinctively raised my rod to defend myself, but it was too late. The creature's teeth sank into my flesh, tearing through my skin and bone. Agony exploded through my body as it dragged me towards the water's deadly embrace. I fought desperately against the relentless pull, but the fish was too strong. I watched in terror as its sharp teeth gnawed at my flesh, piece by piece. The water around me turned a crimson hue as my lifeblood seeped into the depths. As my consciousness waned, I heard the sound of mocking laughter echoing from the darkness. It was then that I realized the true nature of my captor. It was not a mere fish, but a malevolent entity that had lured me to its watery grave. With a final, agonizing surge, the fish pulled me beneath the surface. Darkness enveloped me, and I was consumed by the icy abyss. The weight of the water crushed my body, and my lungs burned for breath. Time seemed to stretch infinitely as I lay there, trapped in a watery prison. The laughter of the creature echoed in my mind, a constant reminder of my impending doom. As the darkness claimed me, I could feel my sanity slipping away. When I regained consciousness, I found myself lying on the shore, my body broken and battered. The fish had disappeared, leaving only a lingering chill in its wake. I had survived the encounter, but I knew that I would never be the same. The memory of that night haunted me, a constant reminder of the horrors that lurked beneath the surface. The laughter of the creature echoed in my nightmares, a testament to the darkness that had consumed me. And so, I became a solitary figure, forever haunted by the fishing trip that had stolen my innocence and plunged me into the abyss of terror. In the twilight's embrace, as the sun kissed the horizon, I cast my line into the murky depths of the secluded lake. The water's surface rippled gently, reflecting the eerie glow of the moon above. As I waited patiently, the silence was broken only by the sound of crickets chirping in the nearby trees. Suddenly, a violent tug on my line sent shivers down my spine. I fought against the unseen force, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. Slowly, I reeled in the line, anticipation and dread mixing in my mind. As the creature emerged from the water, I gasped in horror. It was a grotesque, mutated fish, its scales twisted and disfigured. Its eyes burned with an otherworldly glow, and its razor-sharp teeth were bared in a sinister grin. Panic surged through me as the fish lunged forward, its claws extended. I stumbled backward, tripping over a fallen log. As I lay helpless on the ground, the creature hovered over me, its foul breath filling my nostrils. I closed my eyes, bracing for the inevitable. But just as I felt its claws graze my skin, a loud crash echoed through the forest. I opened my eyes to see a massive tree crashing down on the creature, crushing it beneath its weight. I scrambled to my feet, my body trembling with both fear and relief. As I turned to leave, a faint whisper seemed to come from the darkness. "Beware the lake," it hissed, "for there are things that lurk beneath the surface." Haunted by the nightmare I had just witnessed, I stumbled back to my camp. As I lay in my tent, trying to shake off the terror, I couldn't help but wonder what other horrors lurked in the depths of that cursed lake. The next morning, I awoke to find my tent surrounded by a group of rangers. They had heard my screams and rushed to my aid. As we walked back to their station, I recounted my terrifying experience. The rangers listened intently, their faces grim. They told me that the lake had a long and troubled history. Years ago, a chemical spill had contaminated the water, creating the mutated creatures that now inhabited its depths. They warned me that it was too dangerous to fish or swim in the lake, and that I should never return. I nodded solemnly, knowing that I would never forget the horrors I had witnessed that night. And so, the legend of the cursed lake grew, a chilling tale whispered among the locals. And as the years passed, I carried the memory of that night with me, a reminder of the dark secrets that can lie beneath the surface of even the most tranquil waters.